It's the end of the night, so you are in for a delight as it's time for our featured fights. A lot of exciting games left to go. 2 series left on the bill today, and the first one is set to be a bit of a stunner. COOLLERZ taking on vengeurR for the last time to close out the evening.
Yeah, so it's a really good matchup. I think COOLLERZ still, for me, needs to find a way to get back to the old form that we saw back in nearly 18 months ago, whatever it was now, 2 years ago. So it's been a while actually since he's put his best performances in. I think the last hope we had for him as being a top contender was probably Stage 2 finals last year, so it would have been a year. And ever since then, it's been in a slightly slow downward trajectory. So obviously a player with huge history and pedigree, but that doesn't mean much if you're not putting up the punches in the fights today.
True, very true. However, there is a caveat to the fact that with this game, we've got someone that's always on an upward trajectory, always hitting the punches, never pulling any. The man, the myth, the legend, the DJ himself, the disc jockey of DJ Wheat that will be joining us.
Yo, what's up, gentlemen? You know what? Not only am I excited for 2 ridiculously awesome featured matches here, but bro, I cannot wait for Jackie to start dropping his slam poetry any moment. I'm excited. I've heard all these rapper references, but I swear to God, you are like a tried and true Jack Kerouac, just about ready to just beatnik us all the way around the Quake arena. So I'm honored to be here. You've done it. What's up, gentlemen?
It's good to have you back, Wheat. We certainly needed you in the last series. I think you probably could have saved us from the descent into madness, but at least you're here now.
I enjoyed it. I loved going down the spiral, the descent of madness with you. So thanks for taking me along for the ride.
Well, hopefully this one will just bring us up into a bit of a better place, right? Because obviously in terms of the stature of this game, it's huge. COOLLERZ versus vengeurR. This should be a sick series to close down towards the end of the night.
Yeah, I'm really excited based off of what COOLLERZ talked about. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see his interview in the last couple weeks in regards to kind of his approach to the game and really celebrating Quake. But it was like this classic wholesome COOLLERZ, which, you know, 2 words you don't necessarily expect to hear next to one another. But you know, it gave me as a COOLLERZ fan this sense of like, yes, COOLLERZ, I am with you. I stand united. Like, turn up the heat, buddy. Let's see what we can do. But you know, putting him up against a player like vengeurR, the wholesome young stallion himself, it's gonna be a tough one. So we'll see if you know, any power was obtained from COOLLERZ in those wise words of wisdom during his winner's interview, and whether or not he can turn that into a win here versus Maestro vengeurR.
Man. See, you know what I like about that, Wheat? You come on and you bring in the heartfelt sentiments. You know, you really think about how these players might be feeling going into it. And then we've got someone like Dan, who is just blunt like a baseball bat. Dan, how's COOLLERZ going to do?
Pretty bad, probably.
There we go. the duality of man.
He's trash. But someone who's not trash is vengeurR, because his stock continues to go towards the moon. And he has been going from strength to strength and continues to do so, but still just cannot break into that, you know, like top 3, top 2 position where he believes he deserves to be. And so he's still got things to prove himself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm still recovering from your comments. You've been giving it recently, mate. You've been outrageous, you have. You need to be reined in. Dad's here now.
No, we need it. We need it.
That's why I'm being benched for this series, mate. I'm done with me.
We need it. He's gonna put false hope into all those channel point bettors out there, and then they're gonna be so mad at him when they lose all their channel points. It'll be awesome.
Oh man,
this is good for something.
A little uprising, slowly but surely pulling out the Jenga blocks. Yeah. Dan is the puppet master of Quake.
It's like a Saw movie for Twitcher over here.
The gauntlet plays certainly were. That was something out of a jigsaw style puzzle. We'll forget about that for now. Let's have a look at the picks and bans and see how this series is going to go. Dan, I know I like to throw these on you, but just first and foremost, hit me with that big analyst brain. What are we looking at?
Clutch Awoken. That's the kind of one big thing that stands out for me. Apart from that, we got some mirror matchups on the first 2. Standard Meta picks up on the Corrupted Keep really like to see Corrupt to keep on these two of the most strategically minded players in the QPL. So that's a perfect matchup to kind of see where they are at, and Wenger picked it. Molten Falls, interesting. We've got two light champions though, but both have their own strengths and weaknesses. Obviously Athena with the grapple, some good verticality in the mid levels there, and Anarchy with the inject and the speed anyway is always very, very useful. And then finishing with a clutch is always going to be nasty.
Yeah, that one is going to be pretty interesting. This isn't the first time that we've seen Wenger on clutch. I think it was a couple weeks ago. There's a lot of commentary around kind of, well, it makes sense. Razy likes to play clutch. But Wenger came on and said, it's not easy, right? There's flaws in the play, and I certainly don't feel as good on the clutch as as say my teammate Razy. But, but put those humble words aside. It's still a tough matchup, right? You've really got to know how to play in between those cooldowns and make a lot of decisions. Awoken to it's just a nasty combination. So automatically, I think puts a little favor towards Wenger there in that last map.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is so worth practicing because it just blows open the pool for you if they have to ban it against you, and that's what happens to Razy. It makes his picks life so much easier because everyone has to insta-ban clutch, which gives him a free pick here or there, which other players don't get because they're not as proficient on the clutch. So I'd like to see him practicing it, and if he becomes anywhere near as scary as Razy, it will definitely help him in terms of his versatility for the matchup going forward.
I suppose it's also as well just in terms of how much chance you get to actually play against it, right? Because obviously it's banned out so commonly, it never really gets a chance to be picked. In terms of officials, the amount we've actually seen him played throughout all of the season combined is a very small margin. So it leaves you questioning the sort of players you're going to see coming into a map, especially if you get him on Awoken as well. You can do a lot with the movement, a lot there that can, if you're not getting Doom, if you get clutch, so much more that can be done to try and trivialize Awoken, just make it easier for yourself. So could be a cheeky pick.
That could be.
Could be. I think the other two maps, though, picks are really quite even. I think there's picks are on map 1 basically even. Map 2 down to playstyle preference, not a lot to separate them. But then in that map 3, I would never want to go up against a clutch, even with a ranger.
Well, if we start off at the top, of course, as well, in terms of where this is going, into Corrupted Keep to begin, Galena versus Doomslayer. Initially, Dan, in terms of what we're looking at here, I'm going to spin this in the sense of, do you think that COOLLER has an opportunity to get himself into the game on this first map, or is this just going to be a very Wenger-centric series?
No, I think it definitely can. I think Corrupted Keep is a perfect matchup for COOLLER. And then Wenger picked it, but he's been historically strong on these type of maps, thinking way back into the old Quake days, Lost World, DM13, that was his kind of home. And this has a similar ring to it and without a rail, close quarters. So I've seen some good performances from there. I would expect Wenger to edge it, but COOLLER's got a good foot in for sure.
You feeling the same way? Or,
yeah, I'm feeling the same. I don't feel like this is a 3-0. I do think that it favors Wenger, obviously, just based off of how he's been playing. If words dictated how well we would play Quake after that interview that COOLLER gave, a couple weeks ago or a week ago, I would say he's going to win this one 2-1. But I don't think it goes 3-0 no matter what. I'm gonna edge it out on Wenger. But I think secretly there's a little bit of me that wants to see COOLLER try to pull this one out.
It would be cool to see him at least do something again, but back into some momentum and actually find himself a map win. I think, if I'm being brutally honest with it though, I could wax lyrical about how good COOLLER was. In terms of his current form, I don't see him doing it. I think this is going to be a 3-0 for Wenger. I think he's just going to walk away with the series. Wow.
Well, there go your channel points, folks. Just flush them down the toilet, nice and just real easy, just like that. Just like that.
Yeah, I mean, I base my analysis on facts and not sentiment. So I'm going to say 3-0 Wenger.
Well, you know what? Just so you guys know, I'm dumping all of my channel points into COOLLER this matchup. All right, so
hold strong, Wheat.
It was last week. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna do it. Corrupted Keep. I've got 50 seconds left. Okay, I'm gonna dump half in, so at least I have enough to bet.
That doesn't sound very confident. It sounds like
all right. I'm putting them all in. How much do I got? 25,000. I'm gonna put 20,000 in right now. Boom, boom. Pay up.
Man,
let's go.
He's all in. Well, nearly all in. Almost all in. It's pretty close. That's all that
Diamond
matters.
hands over there.
I've got to be able to get my points back in case Cooler does win the first map. Yeah, come on, it's like
Oh man. Right, well, much like the points that are going to be disappearing, we have to say goodbye to Daniel because it is his time to leave. You can sit on the wayside, Dan. You can connive and giggle away, and it'll all be for naught.
awesome.
But there we go. Oh, all right then, welcome back, mate. It's good
I'm
to
ready.
see me and you again.
I'm ready. I'm ready. No, I mean, honestly, both these matches are like, this is what we hope to get for the featured matches. I mean, I'm excited for the Cooler vengeurR for sure, but Avik Razy is definitely, I think, one of the matches of the EU side that I'm very excited to see go down.
Oh, yeah.
Still think Razy, you know, is kind of the beast to take out over on the EU side, but excited nonetheless.
No, absolutely. I think that's going to be really fun, right? Because it's also one of those where we tend to see Avik sort of rise to the occasion. So you put him into that sort of environment, it should give us a big bit of fanfare to round out the night. That is coming up after this, though, because it looks like for now, we're starting to load into the first map of this series, the one we've been teasing. COOLLERZ taking on the other Maestro Madman of vengeurR. Corrupted Keep the start. No rail. It's out of commission. I'm looking for the aggression. I'm looking for this one to really set the pace for the series, to be honest, Wheat.
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game here, and you know, it's going to be who's going to kick things off. Sometimes we have chaos there right at the beginning of the matchup, and that could dictate some of the flow. But let's go ahead and get started, as we are going to be watching from COOLLERZ point of view to kick things off here. And are we going to see some initial excitement? Nothing right away, but that's okay. That's okay. They're going to slow it down just a little bit as they'll swap it up, as we have COOLLERZ taking the heavy and vengeurR taking the mega. Also, totem management, harder to do here on Corrupted Keep, but super important. We're going to have the first exchange of fire here any moment. Looks like it might happen over mega.
Really quite a slow opener between the both of them. Finally, contact is made. vengeurR from the elevated angle comes around with the LG. Lot of pressure being put on COOLLERZ, and he's buckling under the sheer amount that's been dumped on him. Luckily enough for the item timings, of course, he can get himself that heavy straight into the pocket hill from the totem, so he buffs himself back up. You wouldn't notice he's been through such a fatal fight. The trades, Wheat, are huge. He's lucky to be alive from that rocket.
He is. He got some decent shotgun damage in there, so both players very, very low. Gonna go in there with the heavy machine gun. It's a little bit of damage there. Does get that first frag coming around the corner. He has a little bit of armor. vengeurR, absolutely none. He's taken out with a single rocket. Allows COOLLERZ to now grab that heavy. And that was not a phenomenal start for COOLLERZ, considering the positioning that vengeurR had. But getting that first frag changed things up, and it is now, he is, you know, in a very good spot.
Man, it's a good way to start it off. Of course, it just depends if you can hold on to this. It's all about the consistency over the course of the series. 9 seconds away from having that next totem available to him as well. So he could have a big overstack to work with, as if he even needs it, as he's doing so much damage. But there's the response from vengeurR. Batters him about, does give him enough time to make his move back over by mega, but he's really committing to the fight. Eventually backs into it, takes away the damage that vengeurR's inflicted, but it's still a close call between the both of them.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You know, COOLLERZ decided to take a different route. That gave vengeurR the heavy, but COOLLERZ brought it back, and he might get a second frag here, depending on, and there it is. LG's him down, making it 2-0, and I do have to say, I think, you know, combination of smart fighting on top of that mega and then the totem kind of saved COOLLERZ a little bit. Still got to be careful, though, because vengeurR is chipping away very, very nicely all the damage, or all of the stacks that COOLLERZ is putting together, but COOLLERZ's keeping the pressure on. And, you know, I have to imagine, like, we're only 2.5 minutes in, but Dan's got to be sweating a little bit.
It's true. He was very hot earlier. Back on Molten Falls, he seemed to be having some sort of hot flash. I don't know what's wrong with him, but hopefully he's cooled himself off a little bit, because COOLLERZ is certainly making vengeurR sweat with the way he's playing this one. Rockets through the grill, a couple of tags here and there. really inflicting a lot of damage and scares him off. He's got a Scarper, tries to backpedal his way into the Mega, grabs it, out through the top of the statue, so much damage done, and finally a frag. One going in favor of vengeurR just as we hit 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think COOLLERZ knew he probably shouldn't have picked that fight too, but in a position where didn't have much choice, decided to go for it. vengeurR now setting himself up very, very nicely positioned above the Heavy, but the Heavy is stolen away from COOLLERZ. Now, can he get out with it? He does manage to find his totem, and that's going to help him out a little bit. Gonna go on the Mega now as tough as he can. Very, very low on both sides. COOLLERZ misses the arc in the air. Oh, both players incredibly low. That would have been huge for vengeurR to tie this back up, but both players will back off now. And this has been a great game so far. 3 minutes, 46 seconds in.
It's been crisp. Some good engagement, some clean fights. He's trying to bully him off control of the Heavy here. Invests so much into it, but couldn't actually get the desired result. COOLLERZ snatches it away. He's got a bigger stack to play with, so close to actually fragging him. Locked in midair like Mary Poppins, but vengeurR's the one that gets popped open and deflated like a balloon.
There's balls of steel right there to make that positional attack, but look at it, works out for him. He manages to somehow sneak out just the right amount of LG damage to get that third frag, and now frag number 4 and frag number 5. We are seeing a COOLLERZ that's, you know, playing like COOLLERZ, but is really on top of things. Yeah, I have to ask, Jackie, like, is vengeurR putting on the best show right now, right? Not to take anything away from COOLLERZ, but, you know, vengeurR's made some questionable decisions in some of the fights that he's taken, too.
Well, wait, the thing is, every good West End performance, you have that little halfway break, you have your time, you come back in fresh. Maybe that's all he needs, right? We get over the 5-minute mark. That's where you could turn the tide of the game. The second act might be where things start to change, and it seems like that's the point it's ramping up towards. Suddenly, we're at a 5-3. They both clash head on, like two pigeons flying through the sky. They smash into each other, but vengeurR, he's in a bad spot, a little bit broken and bloodied. Has to try and build himself back up. Few light items here and there, and begins to chase once again, spotting COOLLERZ as he turns the corner.
Yeah, really interesting battle right now. And you're right, like we've seen vengeurR in this spot before, but Heavy is back up. COOLLERZ can't go in. He's only got 5 points of health. Drops down to Kodum. Still gets the frag, 6-3. Just inches that one out narrowly. And then off the spawn, vengeurR getting very aggressive, but rightfully so, does manage to capture that frag back. 6-4 now. And I was going to say, like, we've seen vengeurR in a fighting from behind position before, so it's not anything that he is uncomfortable with or not capable of handling. But very, very close game now. 2 frags. vengeurR most of the time fighting from this aerial position, and COOLLERZ being completely okay fighting from below. A shotgun blast is going to force vengeurR away from that Heavy and give it to COOLLERZ clean. We've got 2 frag lead for COOLLERZ. 4 minutes left to go. Still a lot of time, but both players just playing a great game.
No, this has been big. It's a huge display on Corrupted Keep. We've still got time for them to develop the way this game's going to go. COOLLERZ, at this point, far better when it comes to stack, but vengeurR just trying to out-time him, outmaneuver him, keep his distance between to play the mind games. Heavy's up and COOLLERZ right by it. He will grab that. We've still got 7 seconds till Mega spawns in as well, and COOLLERZ comes running back over. If he can block him off with a pre-fire and potentially get himself the Mega, vengeurR's going to be in a good fighting position here. The LG bout goes down. They're both hitting so much, but COOLLERZ just melts him.
I mean, just melted in the most extreme way possible. He timed that perfectly, knew that vengeurR was going to drop down, go for the Mega, and used all the LG ammo he had to get that frag. 7-4 now, 3 minutes left. And, you know, suddenly COOLLERZ looking to be in a position where he could kind of capture this game. You know, thinking about the change from the offensive play that we've seen into a more defensive play. We've also seen players do it way too early, and COOLLERZ is going to back off in that back hallway. LG coming out again, dishing out a ton of damage on vengeurR before he gets some back, but only getting a minor damage on that rocket. vengeurR is able to pull this one back. He's now only 2 frags behind Jackie, and he's going to have to work for these last 2.
He's got to start getting aggro. And he's so low on stack, but if he wins this one, it could have been the game-changing point to get him into the game on Corrupted Keep. But off the back of that death, it looks like he's just handed over the leash, giving it to COOLLERZ. He's going to let him lord that over him. Finally, one for vengeurR. There is still so much to be done, but the hourglass has got a lot of sand left in it. He's making his move back around. 2 frags now in the next 2 minutes. Good LG. Basically locks onto him. He's floating in midair, but he's connecting non-stop. So many sixes bubbling to a brim, and COOLLER snatches away the mega.
Wow. I mean, I cannot believe the dance that these two are doing around some of these powers. vengeurR, though, very, very low. And this is actually a great position for COOLLER, whether he realizes he's in it or not. vengeur's not going to be getting aggressive and attacking. And that means for the last 90 seconds, COOLLER will have taken both of our major items. Again, vengeurR fighting from the top, but COOLLER still getting the better of some of those exchanges. And up by 2, we're about to hit that last 60 seconds, Jackie, and this is nasty. I mean, I definitely felt like this is going to be a map that if COOLLER was going to pick up, this would be the best candidate for that. But he has really kind of come out of the gates like just running.
Yeah. No, he's hit him hard and fast, straight into the sprint, picking up good speed. He's just been so effective at playing around those totems. There's been so many engagements where vengeurR has got him close to death and he's just backed off after dealing so much damage. This is actually potentially an interesting point, though. vengeurR, with more than enough time left for 1 frag, we could be sat at a sudden death scenario if he gets this kill. All it comes down to is 1 more frag. COOLLER again, though, just abusing these totems to deal damage. Back off, heal himself, but you can't heal that. Bullets through the back of the spine. vengeurR clutches it out. We're going to sudden death.
This is huge for vengeurR. I mean, if there was ever a time to turn things on, this was it right here. He needed that one. We are definitely going to go into overtime, and not good for COOLLER. He's got no major items at all. Yeah, the totems came out really nice there, but he tried to run for that light armor, and vengeurR said no, and there it is, sudden death. Suddenly, all those wonderful points that I thought I was about to earn are on the line once again, and that's exactly the kind of player that vengeurR is. Yeah, he can be down by 4, down by 5 early on, Jackie, but you cannot count him out.
You can't. You definitely shouldn't, and he's proving that right now. His actions speaking far louder than his words with sheer speed as he goes through the teleporter, looking to try and deal some damage. Shots coming out, whittling away, little by little. A few chips there onto COOLLER, buckling him somewhat, stealing away the items as well, and denying any opportunity for COOLLER to find an easy way back into the game. He does still have those totems, though, and that is going to be a big aspect of him keeping himself alive. If vengeurR can force him to fight towards the heavy side of the map, he'll have the edge.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, COOLLER was okay being on that side because all of his totems were over there. And it'd be a great time for vengeurR to try to clear that up. But COOLLER is going to be basically forced to the back now. And there we do see 2 of them go down. The third one up right there. But are we going to meet up? They do, exchanging some rockets. LG does come out. Both players still about even. vengeurR just a little bit more life, more totems going down here. 1 minute into overtime, still 8-8. And I am clenched.
As you should be. Hold on tight. This is still a bumpy ride. vengeurR. He's been the one trying to set the pace of the game since we got into the sudden death. He's done a good job of finding those totems, removing them from play, and restricting the strategy that's been winning the game for COOLLER. Damage coming out as well. Again, being able to inflict so much pain with the small bullets. Here we go, though, as they swing around the corner. The LG's pulled out. vengeurR's done it. He's burnt his way through him. He clutches it away and steals it. Corrupted Keep goes to him.
What I need to know how... Oh, shut up, Dan. I need to know how much health vengeurR had at the end there. Yeah. Wow. That was a great game. 9-8. vengeurR starting off a little shaky, Jackie, you know, like, I mean, COOLLER was putting the pressure on. Definitely some questionable decisions. But again, we've seen vengeurR there before, right? We've seen him down by a few. And you know, hang on, no problem. Come back, do what he needed to do. I'm still shocked on the tie, the sort of the tying up frag from vengeurR. I thought that COOLLER was actually going to be able to get away okay from there and grab that light, but you know, vengeurR knew exactly where he was, laid it on. That was a phenomenal first game.
It really was, and I suppose it's interesting as well because a lot of the ways that COOLLER basically had the grasp on the game is entirely around the fact he was able to just abuse the totem so much. He'd have one down, always rely on the pocket heals, chip damage galore, fall back into the totem, he's fine, he's dusted the dirt off his shoulder like he's a Jay-Z fan. It was just simple. Whereas finally towards the end, vengeurR realized he could bait him out, playing around the items, just got him over the heavy side of the map, goes in, exterminates all the totems. At that point, COOLLER looked lost.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, vengeurR he changed things up in such a phenomenal way in that second half, right? I think you said it, zoning him out, baiting him out a little bit more, was always trying to play from with a vertical advantage, which I think is pretty common that we see vengeurR doing, but just keeping his head in the game and just chipping away at that lead ever so slightly. It was nicely done. I'm still surprised that vengeurR brought it back and looked so clean doing it in that final 4 minutes.
No, yeah, it was a crazy transition because already, we were thinking towards the 5-minute mark, like, is this a bit too much of a tall order? It looked like COOLLER was just going to carry on, just basically, building up more and more stack as he went on and just getting out of control with the amount of frags he was finding. But no, vengeurR turns it around and clutches it out in the end. It's a good precedent to set. I'm sure it certainly raised a couple of eyebrows with the way the game's gone. But we do move on to the sequel, of course. Molten Falls now being the second. I don't know what it is, I don't know if it's just like a weird curse between me and you when we cast Molten, but it always feels like we have the weirdest, slowest games whenever we get Molten together.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly... That's fine. That's fine because we're gonna get a show, right? Anarchy and Athena on Molten. Like this is great. This is this is better than a couple of heavies slogging it out. Although, I can't really. I'm not allowed to say that today after the game too that we had Cygamers doing. But yeah, we are live now and going to be following COOLLERZ point of view off of the bat. And very curious to see how this one is going to go because the what was the score? 21-15 or something on the other. I like. Can we get that high of a frag count here on Molten with 2 lights? I think it's possible.
Potentially. Let's see how it's going to go because already the scrap is kicking off and COOLLER right in with the shotgun. Big pain, big frag as he finds himself the opener. Are you a fan of his choice of shotgun skin? Is that acceptable for you?
Yes. Yeah,
Lovely.
That's the big fatty shotgun. That thing does some damage. Not like that Quake 4 shotgun that does no damage at all.
The tiny little thing that it is.
Yep, that's right. 1-0 now. COOLLER picks up that initial frag, and which is kind of funny. You used the shotgun really effectively in that first frag on Keep and managed to get it, but it's got a long ways to go. 9 minutes with 2 champions, especially one like Athena that can just kind of retake positioning at will with that grapple. How is COOLLER going to play this one so far? Just deciding I'm going to keep on the heavy side, which makes a lot of sense. Can grab the light if need be. Probably wants the heavy, and we'll just work on those injects. Although hasn't been keeping them up, and COOLLER's just going to play this one super chill, hiding in the corner. Get to Russian player here.
Good spam of rockets between the both of them there, trying to establish dominance in terms of the items. They eventually break away from one another. Oof. Wow, that was actually really nice. The little tickle damage right underneath. COOLLER looked a little bit lost off the back of that one.
It's like, what is damaging me? What is this? And then looked, oh, that was the LG gun.
Yeah, he just looks so confused. So vengeurR being quite cheeky with it, actually peeking back out as well, hits the rails. So COOLLER not looking anywhere near as opposing as he did to start off back on Corrupted Keep. vengeurR's building up a stack as well. COOLLER's got to get himself the Mega. But there could be a big fight coming up soon.
Yeah, COOLLER just hanging out, just grabbed the Mega. We've got really, really small amount of time between our major items. And I'm, he's standing still for so long. I have to go, is everything okay? It's not what we normally see, but a lot of respect between these two players, and the smarts coming out on this one. Not necessarily going to beat each other up in the way that we saw the last Molten Falls game. But there's a nice rail coming out by COOLLER. Can't follow up with the second one. Looked for it. And vengeurR is just going to get away. We'll see if COOLLER's going to switch things up here. I'm actually surprised he maybe didn't delay the Mega a little bit to potentially get in here to the heavy room. But we'll have to see what happens.
True. Could have been the opportunity to muddy the timing slightly. Instead didn't opt to. Does go back round and once again get himself the Mega here. So much respect between either one of them. You know, if the first map was a boxing match, this is now a game of chess. They're taking their time to approach it methodically, not running the risk of giving anything away. COOLLER realizing as well, map like Molten Falls, we've seen it decided off the back of one frag victories multiple times. So if he can clutch onto this for as long as possible, burn that clock down, it gives him a higher and higher chance of taking this map the longer this goes on. And vengeurR, he just holds up towards middle. He's looking for him. He's not finding anything.
No, this is such a... What have we done? I have no idea. It's such an interesting game that is happening right here. Again, no delay. We've got 2 seconds in between these two items, and here we go. We're gonna have a fight. They're gonna shoot some stuff at each other. Jackie, it's happening.
Ansley, it's happening. It's happening, but it has stopped momentarily.
The damage right now is 400 apiece. 4 minutes, 22 seconds into the game.
It's so bizarre. Near miss as well from COOLLER as he just slowly bypasses his way around. Holds in position. Finally, it looks like he's going to go down as vengeurR will frag him out. Gets a bit stuck there with the grapple hook, but is able to overcome that and move on back into the game. So 5 minutes in, a frag apiece, and it's only just happened. This is exactly what I was talking about our curse whenever we see the cast Molten. But that was certainly a blessed flick shot from vengeurR. That was huge.
That was huge. Gonna stop COOLLER in his tracks, and you know, vengeurR, I think though played that one smart, right? If he's like, if we're gonna play, hold on, we've got to fight here, as this one might be a forced COOLLER in a position where he's not going to be able to get out unless he fights. vengeurR takes huge advantage of that, gets the rockets and the heavy. But I feel like vengeurR, realizing that COOLLER was playing a game where it's like, I'm not going to show myself. Nice direct rocket coming out by COOLLER there, but I'm not going to show myself. vengeurR quietly made his way over and put COOLLER in a position where he had no stack and he wasn't going to be able to run away. And, you know, ultimately that led to a frag. But COOLLER now turning on the aggression a little bit. Things have changed. COOLLER knows that his opponent's over near the Mega. How will this change things up for him, though?
vengeur's flicks are looking really on point now as well. Finally, for once, he's in the back foot, and we see the rail from COOLLER getting a little bit of love as we do go back to a 2-2 split. So 4 minutes on the clock now here on Molten. Second map in the series, COOLLER. You can only imagine he's slightly aggravated about the way it finished on Corrupted Keep, but he's played so reserved, just so calm. Just looks like he's chilling out. Hands, keyboard, you know, off the mouse. Biding his time,
Yeah, I mean, I cannot believe that it's 2-2 after joking about will we have a high-scoring game. COOLLER coming around the corner. LG is locked. vengeurR and COOLLER about even. COOLLER with just a little bit better stack. COOLLER cannot find that rail, though. Going to go ahead and give chase. Sees the rocket coming out. Knows that's probably not the best path to take. Will go through the upper areas and double... Wow. We barely even saw vengeurR there as he just flew by. But COOLLER is going to grab the heavy. And I don't know. I mean, are we setting ourselves up for another potential overtime given how slowly and methodical these two are playing?
Potentially. It feels like that's the way it's going, as no one wants to, you know, run that risk of taking the first fight. It's so evenly met. Playing with respect to just giving up either side of the map to one another. That was a nice face, at least. So COOLLER, big damage done. Still got a bit of time until Heavy's actually up. So vengeur's really low. If COOLLER gets this kill, would have been huge. Instead, though, he's done more than enough damage that it's imposing. So vengeurR has to back off. He gets both major items on this rotation now. You're sitting pretty. Good spot to be in.
Yeah, that was huge. And there wasn't much that vengeurR could have done at that point. You know, once COOLLER hit that rocket, sent vengeurR running away. But will he be able to capitalize on it? Great rails like that will be equalizers here. There's a nice rocket, followed up with the rail, and COOLLER takes the lead after not having a frag for almost 4 plus minutes, but it's only a 1 frag lead. There's still a lot of time left on this map. A fight over the Mega. It's grabbed by vengeurR. A little bit of damage is done. COOLLERZ going to have to run away here, and now he's going to find himself in a rough spot. He's got to be very, very careful. The rail does come out, throws the inject out as well. And with 2 minutes left to go, what is vengeurR going to do to bring this one back?
Needs to do something soon. Stack favoring COOLLERZ quite vastly, of course, as he lurks over towards Heavy. Spawn coming in. COOLLERZ right there. They burn their way through one another. Good tags coming out. He's got the health advantage.
Wow.
So it's another frag. Again, COOLLERZ shuts him down 4-2, turning the tide of the game. With really not that much time left. I know it's only 2 frags, but with how this game's gone, it feels like such a hard margin.
It really does. And that was such a risky fight for COOLLERZ to take to vengeurR on top of that Mega. He needed to have the utmost confidence that his rail or his lightning gun was going to do exactly what he needed him to do. Like, I'm a bit surprised that he won that one, but COOLLERZ going to fire off another rail. That puts him in a very nice position. Yet again, he's got a minute that he can kind of burn off this clock, Jackie. And that's a long candle, my friend, because, well, vengeurR is going, well, you know what? Every time I say that, and then suddenly, you know, COOLLERZ like, oh, I'll just chill in this alcove. And vengeurR's like, I'm going balls to the wall, son, and picks up the frag. It's now 1 frag, and this could be anyone's game right here.
Man. And if he's hitting flicks like this as well, that's certainly how he can change the pace of this one. vengeurR, sick of being a pair of idle eyes, now finally wants to get himself into the game and become idolized. If he can keep this up, it's doable. 1 kill, 20 seconds on the clock, knows exactly where he is, drops down, but it's all for now. Blunder as he's taken down by COOLLERZ. 5-3 at that point, that's it. He's given up the goose sweep.
That is it, 5-3, and got my points back. That's nice.
Made some money.
What an interesting game. What was the damage there? I've got to see what the overall damage. We were like 2,000 apiece, 2,200 for COOLLERZ, 2,000 for vengeurR. We went like 2.5 minutes and 400 damage had been dealt. Think about how much that actually is in the grand scheme of things, you know. What an interesting game, and where I thought that maybe the light champions would actually result in more action, Jackie, I think in reality it resulted in sort of more strategy, which is a crazy thing to think about on Molten, right?
Yeah, I suppose it's interesting, right? Because obviously we're so used to the heavy champions basically playing in a similar way, where we thought, all right, you've got the opportunity now to play with speed, but with a reduced stack, I guess it was far more favourable to play out for stack control, play for overall map control, rather than running the risk of giving away any easy kills. So yeah, a really slow game. There was literally points where we saw just no movement from either one of them. vengeurR just sitting towards the high ground at middle. COOLLERZ just sat just by Mega, just basically sat there for 30-40 second periods at a time. Again, I don't know what it is. It's just something about me and you casting Molten, mate. It seems to slow down time.
I don't know. Some scientist is going to do a study on it, going to be peer researched, all that stuff. We'll figure it out. But now, as each player holds on to 1 game, and the series is going to be determined here in map number 3, and it's going to be a crazy one, right? We talked a little bit about the clutch during the picks and bans. This is not a place I would want to be, Jackie. This is not a place at all. I feel like in order to get those victories versus someone who can play clutch reasonably well, vengeurR definitely in that bucket, you've got to play a perfect game against that clutch. Only fighting when it makes sense and you know you're not going to run into the beefy shield, right? Really keeping that timed in your head. This is going to be a tough one for COOLLERZ to take, and I think, you know, vengeurR plays smart, and this will be his.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's an interesting sort of, storyline to this as well, in the sense of something we spoke about a little bit in the pre-game, where it does feel like at times, because they're both on the same organization, people sort of think of vengeurR of living in Raze's shadows sometimes, right? Now you're literally on the champion that he kind of defined into the meta and made like a big break into the scene with, in terms of showing you need to ban this or else I'm going to win every time.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if vengeurR can live up to the hype, come out and play that quality level of clutch and just just really give us something to rave about, right? That would be like the big kicker if he does take this.
Yep. He said in interviews, this is not an easy champion to play. Admits that, it is difficult. Yeah. Sometimes that feeling of I'm invincible can certainly work against you. So we'll see if it'll work for vengeurR here this time, as we're going to kick off with COOLLERZ point of view. And we'll see what kind of damage that he can make happen here. As I don't know how this one is going to compare to the other two, Jackie. I mean, I kind of expect a lot of action, but in the first 20 seconds here, that's not what we're seeing.
I'd hope so. I'd imagine this one to be a little bit more like a fireworks show. But you're right. Again, it's slow, it's steady, it's methodical stuff in the first few seconds. COOLLERZ just lurking his way around. vengeurR finally starting to take the initiative onto this one as he peeks out, strips away some of the stack that was just picked up by COOLLERZ. But yeah, they're playing really slow already. You can see the sort of style they want to bring to this one.
Yeah, and vengeurR, I mean, honestly, doing a great job matching to whatever style COOLLERZ is playing, right? When COOLLERZ's been getting aggressive, vengeurR has picked it up and he's got aggressive. When COOLLERZ slowed down and decided to, pitch a tent and whatnot, vengeurR's done exactly the same thing. So I really like that. vengeurR has always been a player that seems to be one who can adapt, and we've yet to see that shield come out here. And so COOLLERZ, I understand why he is trying to play very, very meticulously here, as both players about to meet here briefly. They exchange some rockets, none hit. And we're having another one of these 1 minute, 30 seconds in, and 150 damage is the average between the two.
Ooh, this will certainly bring those numbers up, but the shield is popped! Hello, COOLLERZ burns his way through it anyway, overpowers vengeurR, gets the opening frag, and now it seems like you've unleashed counter COOLLERZ that's coming fast towards you. It looks like he wants to go straight for a second follow-up kill already off the back of that one. He does slow it down somewhat, peeking around the corner towards Banana, a little bit wary of where exactly vengeurR is at this point. They're both so close, yet so far away, just sat by middle. COOLLERZ has Dire Orb. If he wants to go in on this, he certainly can.
Yeah, and he knows that vengeurR is there. He's just going to, well, maybe not. He looks over to the heavy and realizes, oh, my opponent's not there grabbing it, so cool, I'll take both of these. And COOLLERZ in a great position. Now, let's talk really quickly about that fight, because that was, again, a perfect situation for COOLLERZ, right? He got a ton of damage before shield came off. He forced shield out, and he got the frag. Now, shield is back up, and so a lot could change in here. It does come out, but the Dire Orb to get out of there, and that means that he's got about 45 seconds where he really can try to bring that battle to rails. Can he get a last one for the kill? He's really, really close. I guess that wouldn't have killed almost. But with 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock, COOLLERZ is leading 1-0. And I love this. This is a very, we obviously love the in-your-face crazy games of Quake, but this is truly a treat, Jackie.
No, this is good. It's a completely different style. Oof. We're seeing so much thought being put into every single play. Both of them trying to spring traps to outplay one another. Good moves there from COOLLERZ, though. Charges in, takes him down, overwhelms vengeurR, and breaks the clutch wide open. Now trying to sell him for scrap parts once again, as well as another 90 is connected. Rails, do not stop hitting. You're such a big champion. You leave yourself so susceptible to COOLLERZ to land all of these shots when he feels like taking the fights.
I mean, this is such a incredible game that we're seeing right here. It seems like, 7 minutes have gone by, and look at that. Even somehow baits out the shield and doesn't engage at all. In fact, throws the Dire Orb out for an easy escape, and he is just playing exactly how he needs to. Now, can you keep that up for 10 minutes, right? Because vengeurR is absolutely a capable player, right? One well-timed shield here. And, he did preemptively pop it on that last one, but I think, wow, nice rail. That's actually going to set up a huge window of opportunity here for vengeurR. Can he find COOLLERZ? He has an idea that he's in the back hallway, but how is he going to take this one? And there it is. He comes after it. LG's coming out. vengeurR does pick up his first frag, and the patience pays off.
vengeurR finally getting one on the board. He's just got to do a little bit more. Keep chaining them together, and the rockets are clean. It might only be 30 damage, but it's enough to force COOLLER to Scarper. Send him in a different direction. You went out on the Mega. Now you've got a big tanky stack to work with. 13 seconds till Heavy's up as well. If he can at least do enough damage here, make it awkward for COOLLER, that's probably the best case scenario. He's not going to be able to rotate round to steal it away from him, unless he really wants to risk this for a biscuit. Goes up onto the top rope, fires out the one rocket. COOLLER will get the item, and he backs off. He can lurk towards middle. 9 seconds until that Mega's up. There's so much to be done for vengeurR, but you can see the paranoia as well, expecting the push from COOLLER. He's really unsure of himself. Finally, the fight comes around. Good impact. He's got to go for this week. If he gets the kill here and now, he'll tie the game back up.
Yeah, he went for it, but unfortunately couldn't do it. A great job from COOLLER with that defensive lightning gun. But, you know, just the one frag cannot be a comfortable place for COOLLER to be, right? Especially, I mean, shield's down right now. This is a great opportunity for COOLLER to go in. But vengeurR has shown us how he can just turn that switch on and easily pick up those frags. So, you know, I think being ahead by 2, feel a little bit more comfortable. Being ahead by 1, a lot can happen in that regard. There we go. Ooh, misses. No, does hit that rail. vengeurR now very, very low. Looking for a little peak rail again here. Will not be able to grab it. COOLLER grabs the heavy. I'm going to move over to vengeurR as he is just, you know, it's just such an impressive game. Really also from vengeurR to not just be overly aggressive because he is playing clutch and he might have shield up, right? He is waiting for a mistake to be made on COOLLER or for him to really land and figure out those routes. So just really impressive by both players.
That's the thing. Ooh, COOLLER. Man, okay, well there you go. That kind of fulfills the prophecy you were saying about getting yourself the 2 frag edge. vengeurR holding on, trying to keep himself alive here, and actually bites back. Wins out on that one. COOLLER, he went aggressive off the back of the spawn, was trying to double down and get himself another kill. And that was a little bit of a risk. Far too risky it seems in the end result, as vengeurR now back. 1 frag between the both of them. It's doable, but he's low. There's nothing really to build himself back up with yet. 2 seconds till Heavy comes in. Rockets raining down, but COOLLER wins the item. He's chasing
he's very
so
low.
hard.
Yeah, he is chasing hard. COOLLER knows that there's a possibility, and there it is, the double rocket, even though the shield was up, and there is the 2 frag lead suddenly coming back for COOLLER, but COOLLER's going to get aggressive yet again, and oh my God, dude, I could not believe it. COOLLER's so low. I thought it was going to be a repeat of that last fight, Jackie.
Oh no, is that enough? Smashes him with the palm of his hand, straight through him. With Dire Orb, COOLLER is looking like a knife through butter at this point, just spreading him everywhere. vengeurR at least has something to work with in terms of the stack, but that's it. He needs kills. That's the commodity now. You've got to go hard, you've got to go fast, you've got to get into the game, as there really isn't too much time left on this one. And COOLLER, he can just afford to sit here, hands off, sat, waiting, burning the clock, burning the precious resource that right now is the 3rd person.
Yeah, and you know, I almost am now starting to think, well, gosh, you know, vengeurR can play aggressively. Like, he knows he's got to turn this up. He's got shield up. Maybe he is just more concerned about the Dire Orb, right? Like wasting it, because COOLLER's also used that as a great mistake mechanism. And here we go. We're going to have it battle out. Oh, nice rail. COOLLER down to 10 points of health. Does pick up a 25, but vengeurR cannot find the frag. He desperately needs this one with 90 seconds less to go to even give himself a chance. And there it is. Now, 2 frags. Jackie, is it possible? Absolutely. Probable? No, might be tough. Here we go. Orb does come out. Great juke, though, by vengeurR, anticipating it. And now 1 frag. And if vengeurR hadn't have picked up that 1, I don't know that he would be in this position right here. And will we have a repeat of what happened in game number 1, Jackie? Because it's looking very likely that that could happen.
The past 9 minutes, COOLLER has been setting up a gigantic mousetrap, but all vengeurR sees is cheese and a challenge. If he can get himself 1 more kill, we'll put back into a sudden death scenario. It's winnable at that point, and it's entirely doable, and he's still got a little bit of time to work his way into it. Doesn't have to force the issue just yet. He's got the bigger stack, especially if he gets more major items to work with as well. Mega's up in 1 second, chances his way back over. It's a race between the both of them. He gets it. All he's got to do now is trap him, take him down, use the shield to block some of the incoming damage. Good tags going out, but it's not enough. The LG's not going to win him the fight. The rail doesn't land either, and he walks away broken, bruised, wires exposed. It's not looking good.
I thought that was going to be bad for COOLLER, but COOLLER's LG thought otherwise. And with 10 seconds left to go, vengeurR needs to have it. He's going to give chase, misses that rocket. Heavy's picked up by COOLLER. LG is coming out. He's going to go in and go for it. Dire Orb to switch positions, gets another frag, and that will be the game. Unreal. Unreal. That game, 3,600 damage for COOLLER, 2,600 for vengeurR. COOLLER played kind of out of his mind in a different way, right? Sometimes when we say COOLLER playing out of his mind, we think his aim is on, he's playing, but that was all in the players' heads right there. Very, very nicely done by COOLLER. I'm pretty shocked. I can't wait to hear what our friend Dan has to say about that one. No.
All the points. The number one COOLLER fan. How you doing, mate?
Hi guys, what happened?
You tell me. You tell me.
I wasn't watching. I was so confident in my prediction. I just went AFK for a bit.
I think, well, the topic of discussion is definitely COOLLER brought a different play style to this matchup versus vengeurR, right? Agree? And vengeurR did his best to kind of match what COOLLER was doing. So my question is should vengeurR have maybe leaned more towards playing his game to try to pull COOLLER out of his own? Or was that, I don't know.
Yeah, I felt personally that vengeurR played into that playstyle too much and didn't try to impose himself and never really forced COOLLER out of his comfort zone. But that's, I guess, the skill that COOLLER has and why he was one of the best for such a long time is he has that ability to make you second guess yourself. Particularly on that last map, there were times where vengeurR looks kind of lost, really, and that's all credit to the way COOLLER was playing and positioning. So I think you're right in that he could have probably in hindsight been more aggressive in some situations, but COOLLER played at a level we haven't seen for quite a while.
Yeah, it does feel like he's been stuck in a bit of a rut for some time now, and obviously that was a good showing of, I'd say, more reserved COOLLER, but being able to really lay it on thick when it matters most, which I think is the pivotal part that he's been missing in a lot of these engagements. The aim looks a bit better, decision making was good, really good map control again, and you're putting that up against someone like vengeurR on Awoken, on Clutch. It seemed like there should have been more. It should have been way harder than it was. The fact that it was such a slow game, again, right? The first nearly 2 minutes were basically just silence. You could just hear ambient noise in the map. It's crazy.
A lot of respect coming out from vengeurR, perhaps more than he would have given other players. So, got to credit COOLLER for how composed he was throughout the series. Because even on Molten, there were times where he could have been quite shaky with the pressure that vengeurR was putting on towards the end of that map, and he stayed strong and came out aggressive when he was unexpected to, and went defensive in the right situations as well. So I liked it. It was a great series.
Yeah, I mean, you look at every outcome, right? An 8-9, a 5-3. I think that was the second. Yeah, and then a 6-4. Like that might have been the closest series that we've seen in stage 2 overall. Really, really impressive. Could have gone either way on every single map, every single time. I think the surprise of that series, though, is definitely Awoken. I did think that was going to be a little bit tougher, but COOLLER kind of played it perfectly. And I have to say his Dire Orb plays were remarkable.
Yeah. Always amazing use of the Dire Orb, and just the way he was positioning and some of the weapon choices, like towards the end there, when he spotted vengeurR over by the heavy, instead of railing him, he swapped to the heavy machine gun, because it would have been a longer period of time where he can get more damage out. Just small efficiencies like that just show you that he's now moving back to such a high level.
I think what's interesting as well, right, is obviously we have the prospect here where, me and Dan kind of looked at it and thought, yeah, all right, 3-0 for vengeurR, it should be him walking away. When in reality, this was about that far away from being a full 3-0 from COOLLERZ and him just kind of completely blowing him out of the water. Like, he really did school him into quite a few of those plays. Corrupted Keep, again, for the most part, it was only that sudden resurgence where vengeurR kind of finally figured out his game plan, right, and capitalized. Other than that, COOLLERZ was in control the entire time. Corrupted Keep was a good map for him. He just looked dominant for all 3 maps.
I agree.
All hail Daddy Wheat.
Do we get an interview? Do we know?
I think we're looking into it. We're seeing. We're trying to appease the COOLLERZ gods himself, but it unfortunately looks like we're not able to wrangle him. He's a slippery fish, so he's gotten out of the net.
It's a bummer. I honestly, I feel like I would love to talk to both of those players, because I would love to hear from vengeurR, right? Like, why did you essentially match the style of COOLLERZ? I'd love to deep dive on that one, but I understand. We've got another amazing matchup anyway.
We do indeed. Apparently, we are looking into seeing potentially. I believe if we can get vengeurR on the line, so maybe there is a chance.
Oh, lose the interview.
To him. I believe that is the case. We'll see if that is going to be the matter. So we'll see. vengeurR might be joining us hopefully, and you can get your questions answered. Week that could definitely be an interesting way to get some insight. Dan, you can kiss his ass as normal.
Normal
even.
Oh, Jesus, Del boy.
How dare you?
Dearie me, this has been such a fun cast, and now we've got the moderator here as well. I think should we take a question from chat? Have we done that yet in terms of asking a player something that we don't know?
I don't know that we've ever done that.
Is that a good idea? Yeah, I think we should do that.
It could be a good idea.
So I will take my question from Twitch chat. If anyone wants to ask, I'll have to open my chat, and then we could see.
You're getting a question donated. It's like phone a friend.
Yeah, I'm just not with it today, so I'm just gonna forfeit my responsibility and ask chat.
Look at him.
All right. This is what happens when I have 8 hours with Jack Peters. I just lose sanity.
Hey, to be fair, it is rough. I wouldn't inflict myself on anyone. It's not worth it. However, good news. Aside from the fact you have to do with me and Dan, you do get to hear from COOLLERZ. It looks like we have been able to get him on the line, and we can actually speak to the man himself.
Oh, great.
Victor of the series. A 2-1 split here for COOLLERZ, and it seems like he's with us. Here he is. How you doing, brother?
Oh, hello. I'm doing better.
You're doing better?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you weren't doing good during the match, and you've won, and now you're doing better? Is that like that?
Well, it's been so shaky until it ends, and it was not that clear before the final fight.
Oh, right.
So now it's better.
Got it. Well, let me ask, because you played, I think, what we would call a very slow and strategic series, right? How would you say? Would you agree with that, or what would you say you kind of brought to this game? How did you play?
The way we've been playing with vengeurR this match, it was exactly what I like in Quake. Actually, I mean, it's not like plus forward all the time. It's not like no reasonable fights. It's it's something you have to think all the time. It's something you have to analyze. It's something you have to calculate like in details. So it was fun, and it was so nice. Yeah.
Have you changed anything in your approach or your training? Because, I mean, the form you're showing today was a lot better than we've seen from the last month or two.
Well, as I said before, I've changed some stuff in my mind. So, yeah, I've changed my mouse, and I've changed my table position in my room. So I've just, reload my mind, and I just started from, something new for myself. And it seems it's going better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely.
I did wonder as well, in terms of how you feel like you've been performing, because obviously in terms of the public reception, it looked like you fell off for a little bit, and now potentially this could be you finding your way back in. Did you feel that way yourself? Did you feel like you kind of got a little bit stuck in a rut, or did it not feel that way?
I can say it's not still me, you know. I know I can be way more better, but nothing I can do, especially in online matches. I'm waiting so hard for Lance. Yeah, I mean, playing on the stage with cameras, with all the pressure from the outside, and yeah, it's way more different.
Do you find then, I guess another question then is on that, do you find the setting when you play in the events now, in terms of finals, a lot different and more, and as you said, pressured than you did, 15 years ago when you were competing?
Like 15 years ago, I've been traveling to the tournament, and I was already thinking what I'm going to spend my money on for the first place.
Yes,
it's funny.
Yes.
It's funny, but like 5 or even way more, counts of times. It was like this. I mean, before the tournament, I was thinking that I already winner.
I love that. You need that mentality again, man.
I think Rafa has something the same at the moment, but we will stop him. We will stop him. I mean, you should be agree that from the EU region, it's gonna be hard for Rafa to easily beat all of us, especially on LAN.
Yeah.
What do you think of Saigib's get-up? Do you like his glasses?
Yeah. As I said before, it's something we should be focusing on. I mean, all of us, all the players, let's make something funny, something not standard for viewers. Yeah, let's make some show.
Like your blonde hair, right?
No, I mean, it wasn't especially for the Quake, but for my AMD media stuff, for the my streams, for my community and stuff like that, and yeah, but still, it's yeah.
I thought it was a good look, Cooler. I thought it was a good look. I thought overall it was a good show today as well, mate. Clean games, 2-1 split.
Yeah, good games, man.
Yeah, respect,
genuinely. Well played, brother. Thanks for popping on as well, man.
By the way, before you go, both these guys said that you were going to get 3-0'd. Just letting you know. I was the one that.
Sorry.
See me on LAN, COOLLERZ.
My goodness, we'll
They're
see you in
just
the
doing
LAN
their
hall.
job. I'm just giving them crap, so they still love you.
Oh,
Good job, man. Great work.
Thank you, guys.
In that, bro.
See you later, brother. Thank you, man.
Bye.
GG's.
Oh, I can't believe you sold us out, Wee.
Oh
that is
yeah,
so
it felt
deep,
so
bro.
good
Really
too,
rough.
man. I'm not
Shit.
gonna lie.
We're like, man.
You're that kid who's like, oh, have we got homework tonight, teacher? Or it was Jackie that farted.
Can you imagine the next time I'm in a shuttle with Cooler on the way to land, the evil, the death stare?
Well, you know what?
You're so dead on
You
LAN
got
week.
2 because when you mentioned the blonde hair,
I
that
know.
was the one time that Cooler looked into the camera. That
I'm so
was
dead.
glorious.
You might not have noticed, but for the eagle-eye viewers, there was pure hatred in the eyes of Cooler. Like, it's not good. But what is good is that there's still one last game to go. The final matchup of the night, of course, is coming up, and that is going to be Avok taking on Razy. Should be big bit of fanfare, big final finish for the stream. If you've enjoyed it up to this point, please stay tuned for what is going to be an exhilarating way to round out this Sunday.